everybody. This is Mr. Gabriel once again. Today we are presenting a topic on how adolescents and young adults can succeed in their lives. We have chosen this stage of life because it's important to begin early, thinking about how one can succeed in their lives as young as when they are adolescents. An adolescent is this person who is about 12 years through 13, 14, all the way to 19 years. And after that, this life of adolescence is between childhood and adulthood. When we think about adult life, we are thinking about the early adulthood, the middle adulthood, and late adulthood. Middle adulthood is as from 35 years to 40 years. Then all the way from 40 years to 50 is, you move that way until aging when we reach 60 years, 70 years, and if God gives us grace, we can go even more years than that. So today we are sharing about how adolescents and the young adults can succeed in their lives. These people are mostly in school, and they are preparing themselves through education. And you are aware that what one begins when they are young, it lasts. Rarely will you find somebody beginning something so unique, so special, when they are 60 years, 70 years, and all that. So, adolescents, these people are in, primary school, all the way to high school, and even colleges. They need to think about how can their life be successful that time and onwards. There are about 3 points or so that we are going to share today. An adolescent needs to succeed in formal education. Formal education is this time when somebody has begun from kindergarten all the way to university. This is the type of education where we learn skills, we gain knowledge. Somebody is placed in primary school, that is from as early as 6 years, and then they proceed all the way to 13 years, and around that time they are through with primary school. Then from 13 years onwards, up to 17 years or 18, they are through with high school. And in case they are not delayed by any resource, from 18 years to 25 years, they are expected to complete college or university. So we are saying that success can be more predictable if this young person puts a lot of effort in formal education. And the formal education is the language of the world. People all over the world today, no one is dependent on informal education only. Time is gone when we used to copy from our parents the skills they have or learn from the environment. For an adolescent to succeed, they need to put a lot of effort in formal education. When they have this piece of primary education, they put the best effort so that they register the best grades. And when they reach high school, the same applies, and university and so forth. So when we think of success, somebody is thinking of, oh, when I reach that age, I'm going to own my own car, or I'll build my own house, or I'm going to raise a family. The beginning of this and the foundation of that success you see or you long for in future, the first thing is formal education. And in formal education, people gain knowledge, they gain skills, and the competencies that will help them follow up a career. Are you planning to be an engineer, for example? Are you planning to be a teacher? Or a pilot? Name it, any occupation. You will require to succeed in good time in formal education. We are talking about primary school education, high school education, and university or college education. Well, something to note in formal education, it is not only knowledge that we get in formal education. We learn how to live with others in the society. We train ourselves how to coexist with the different people from different cultures, such that our minds can accommodate the other people. When you work, let's say you are a Kenyan and you get some work in South Africa, through formal education, one will have known how to live with different people. If you go to Australia, if you go to America, any part of the world, with the formal education, you'll be able to move on with life well. Through formal education, we learn something we can refer to as universal language. You know how to live, how to interact with the people of all types. Are you a nurse? If you have studied nursing, let's say in Kenya, your work can be recognized overseas in any other country. If you are a teacher, if you go to any part of the world, you can teach. Are you an engineer? You can do engineering there. We have people all over the world working in different countries. It is because they have acquired formal education. So what we are saying here is that the way of living in the village or just getting satisfied with what you have learned from the locality is not sufficient. It is good to acquire this education and especially learn to be creative. Learn to be what? Learn to be creative. Because knowledge itself, knowledge in raw form, may not be as useful. But for example, if you have learned how, if you have trained in, let's say, hospitality and nutrition, you need to put some creativity in that work so that it can even be better. If you think of baking bread, for example, how can you bake bread differently from what others have been baking? If you are an engineer, what is it that you will do so, you will perform so uniquely that will distinguish you as an outstanding engineer so that you can be on top of the world? Are you a teacher? The world is bored with repetitions. Why would one yearn or long to teach just like the way earlier teachers taught? Supposing you devise a new technique of interacting with the children, you invent a way of teaching better. So formal education has to do, you want creativity and innovation, so that when you put your services or goods in the market, people will skip that shop and come to your shop. Why? The way you do things is so creative, is so unique that they would prefer your products or services. So when we are learning out there, you're in that institution, you're in that college, you have been enrolled in that university. Other than the knowledge that you get from the teachers, it is good to think of new ways of applying that work. The world today requires a lot of innovation. We need new ways of doing things. We need new ways of thinking. What are your perspectives about different things? Are you a farmer? How can you farm differently from the former farmers or the farmers who were there before us? Are you a road engineer? Are you able to make roads in a unique way such that you can get more contracts? So, when we think about succeeding as an adolescent and as a young adult, there is need to embrace formal education, and not only formal education, but with the creativity and innovation. Well, I hope that is of some substance. Still, point number 2, to succeed as a young adult, there is need to begin as early as possible to have some property and do some investment, however in a humble way. Yes, you're in primary school. That child of yours, my dear parent, is in primary school. But is there something they can do that they can say, let's say if somebody is living in the rural area, do they own a chicken? Do they have a kitchen garden? Does this child have something of their own which can encourage them and say, Mommy, that is my chicken. Mommy, this is my plant. Daddy, this is mine. And that early introduction to owning something that is not collective gives an idea that the child, when he or she grows up, they will be interested in having their own property. So this idea of saying, let's wait for our children to complete school, they are 30 years so that they can start their projects. The earlier the better. Because around adolescent time and this period of being a young adult, the mind is very creative. The way they think is so fresh. So why don't we encourage ourselves? Why don't we encourage the children? Our young men and daughters, why don't we encourage them to do something slowly? Somebody is thinking of starting a supermarket. Yes, you can start something, an example of a business like a shop or a canteen when you are in high school, and then be doing it when you come for holidays. And even if you are not having all the time to do it, tell your parents to be the overseer of that small business, but get to know that that is yours. One of the things that has made our children fail to link education with the required industry is because we kind of assume that they have to finish this so that they do the other one. But there is a way we can start our owning our property and investment even when we're in college. By the way, I've read stories of young people, young men and women, who make mandazi and sell them to their classmates. Others make soap and sell them. Others are good in hairdressing. And so during the weekend, they can make hair of their colleagues. Others are, they sell credit, let's say in university or college. And you realize this young man, who is as creative as that, begins to know what is to have income and what is to make loss and how to plan and how to implement. So there is this notion. We have heard even our leaders, politicians, and even we parents, sometimes we tell our children, wait, your time will come. Do not involve yourself in anything. Let the house help do it. Let the shamba boy do it. Let your mother do it. You don't touch anything. You are a student. You are in college. Don't bother yourself. But now there is that sometimes can postpone something so important. What is needed is to begin this process of having some property and investment gradually, but still education being the main theme and the main occupation, yet during their half term or during their holiday, they can try something. But my dear parents, I'm not ignorant of this fact that school these days is so demanding that a child leaves at 6 a.m. and they come some minutes to 7. That has been a challenge. And I've always thought of raising a discussion amongst ourselves and other stakeholders. What can we do? Because our children need to know how to do some house chores. Our children need to know how to care for the pet. They need to know how to care for the rabbits, for the chicken. They need to know how to bake, how to iron, how to do house chores, and how to do shopping. But now when our children are only educated, but the skills are lacking, they may not really catch up nicely when that time comes. So we are somehow grateful, not somehow, but we are grateful for the way the government of Kenya has introduced a system of education called curriculum-based competence-based curriculum, CBC. The CBC is practical, and we hope that it will catch up without any interruption. Because here, the child is taught on how to, for example, sew on a button in case it cuts off, how to brush shoes, how to feed chicken, how to make the bed. This practical way of doing things is very important. Have you ever asked yourself, how comes a university graduate or a college leaver continues to suffer in case they are not employed immediately? I've always observed that it is because they have no skills. They don't know how to wash their own clothes. They don't know how to make food. They don't know how to work on the kitchen garden. They don't know how to practice what they learned. All they have is knowledge. And therefore, when we talk of success in adolescents and young adults, one thing is to begin gradually to desire to have your own property as an adolescent and as a young adult. Have your own investment. You can have your own M-Pesa. You can have your own garden. You can have your own shop still when you are in school. And then you can leave your young sister, young brother, or your mother to check on it when you are busy with academics. I hope that is something that somehow can make young adults and adolescents succeed in life. As we proceed, there is something called honesty. Let's give a thought about this term called honesty. The other element that can make an adolescent to succeed in their lives is to be honest. Honesty is the choice to tell the truth even if it is painful, and live upright even if it is demanding. So to be honest It's where somebody is thinking about, do I cheat the exam? Do I dodge the lecturer and then get my grades, and then I have 90%, I have a B? You know, honesty is about being open in life. One chooses to speak the facts and the truth instead of lies. Because by the end of the day, lies and dishonesty does not pay at the end. In fact, it can be compared to planting a bad seed on the soil. If a farmer, for example, picks a rotten seed, and it is now rainy season, it is season for planting, this farmer picks seeds that have been rotten, the ones that are reject, and go to sow on the soil. It will wait beneath the earth, under the soil, and then when time comes when it is expected to germinate, it won't germinate. And in case it germinates, the plant will not be healthy. So, investing lies and the dishonesty in life can ruin the life of an adolescent, or rather, and also the young people. And that can transcend even to later years, where one may not really be an ethical person. So honesty is very important. Let's encourage ourselves, young people. Let's encourage ourselves in this life. There is no need to go for a shortcut. In fact, life can work better, much better, and even in a long-term manner when we be honest. Let's be honest in such things like examinations. If you get a C, for example, let it be your C, instead of getting an A when you saw the exam. Another example, when you reach the time to make opposite sex relationship, why would a young man cheat the girl that I am this and that when they are not? Why would one be what would say they are what they are, yet they are not? It's good to be honest. Whether you are a boy or a girl, male or female, rich or poor, be honest. All that an honest man requires is to go at his pace, and things will work out well. One thing that has delayed development in this country is dishonesty. And where on earth this begins, one cannot imagine. You find young people have reached a time when they can benefit from government tender, or when they can take some big work. But now when they are writing the proposal, they include lies. They say that the project is like this, they include false profiles, they include false images and all that. And then after all, the project may not be there. It's all dishonesty. And this dishonesty, sorry to say, is what has given birth to corruption and bribe. So as early as being an adolescent, as early as 10 years, 15 years, 20 years onwards, learn to be honest. Begin simply and choose. I would rather speak the truth than be dishonest. Be honest to your girlfriend. Be honest to your boyfriend. Be honest to your parents. Why would a young man in the university say that the fees is this amount when it is not? Let's be honest in different ways. Wherever we are, let's be honest. And by the way, there is something that I would like to say to our dear parents. Parents, and those of us who are bigger brothers than our sisters, and also our teachers. children can learn from us when we are not honest. For example, when mom calls dad and asks dad, Baba so and so, dad so and so, where are you? Then the dad says, I'm in town. Only to realize later that dad was not in town. When the children learn this, they kind of take that if dad can do this, then it is a good thing. And so we are saying, parents, and those of us who are in a position to influence others, let's demonstrate honesty. And up to where I have reached personally, my own testimony, and a testimony of a number of people I know, those who have succeeded genuinely, honesty pays. So, whichever level you are as an adolescent, you are in high school, you are about to join college or university, let's be honest as much as we can. Let's choose to speak the truth, even if it pinches. And I tell you, those who compete with you when you are honest, a time comes when you overtake them in broad daylight. Why? Honesty is a sure foundation that you cannot go backward. But with the dishonesty, you move to and fro. Today you are rich, tomorrow you are in court. Today you are a free man, next day you are in jail. You cheat, then your papers are taken away and all that. You are even registered if you have some work. So let's be honest. Wow. I hope that is something that can help somebody. As we come to the end, this life requires moderation. Moderation, balance. Not too high, not too low, but balance. And make sure one maintains the balance. So let's be moderate. As a young person, be moderate. Stay in a manner that you are not greedy. Being moderate is demonstrated by nature. Nature itself teaches mankind that you have to be moderate. When God allows the sun to rise and you take all the journey from sunrise to sunset, the sun is moderated so that it can benefit the plants, it can benefit human beings, it can help sea life, marine life, and all that. And even the weed is moderate. It is neither too much or less. So nature itself as a lesson for us. Nature speaks to us, even if it's not in words, that we have to be moderate. Let's control our appetites. As a young person, control your appetite. It is not good to be too optimistic, such that when you have your 10,000 shillings, you want to travel to Tanzania, you want to try that food, you want to try this delicacy, you want to do that and all that. Finally, you feel exhausted, and then you kind of move to square one. As a young person, being moderate, even in speech, as we talk, don't exaggerate things. It is good to just pass information as it is. And lack of moderation is a real lack, and it's a lack that can make somebody, lose a lot. Think of this person who the first time these adolescents felt that they have become grown-up women, they have felt they have become grown-up men. You are just 20 years, 25 years, but remember you are in college. You don't have money yet, you have no bank account. And then because of lack of moderation, you say, I want to get married. And then somebody gets married, you are a student, you are in school, exams are there, you have many things to do about school, and then you have a girlfriend, you are planning wedding and all that. That time has not reached. It's good to moderate. If somebody, let's say, is in Form 3, the focus should be on education only, because within a short time, you will be sitting for the final exam. One is maybe taking a course that is taking 4 years, a degree course. Once somebody has stepped second year, there is need to concentrate, because most courses, this is the time you are required even to go to do practicals, to do to demonstrate your skills. So when we link up what we are doing with many other things without moderation, we can kind of lose in one way or another. Therefore, being moderate is a point to think about around this stage of adolescence and when one is a young adult. And being moderate does not mean being docile or inactive. It is about planning. You plan, you say, this is for this year, this is for next year. This is for this time, this is for the next time. So being moderate should not be mistaken by being passive. But a moderate person has a whole list of vision, as a vision that she or he has recorded and say, for example, somebody will say, I wouldn't like to be married before I get a job. That is wisdom. Someone will say, until I have money to rent my own house, or until I have money to care for my kid, I don't want to sire any kid. Being moderate. Therefore, it's something to think about, especially in life today. Think about it. When you hear about being moderate, what do you understand? In as much as I have shared with you today, it doesn't mean that that's all that you need to know. It is food for thought. Think about it, reflect about it, what it really means to be moderate. Otherwise, for today, we have shared about 4 points on becoming successful as an adolescent and a young adult. 1, formal education. 2, begin to own property and investment, albeit in a humble way. Number 3, practice honesty in your life. And number 4, be moderate, so that we can reap from the fruits of, the fruits of this developmental stage. Adolescents and young adult. Thank you so much. I hope that may be something to really think about, and something that you can consider and even pass it as a piece of information to somebody you love and somebody you care about. All the same, this message is not so much restricted only to adolescents and young adults, but even our parents can have a look at it, and even our mentors, our teachers, even those who teach us things about God, that is our pastors and ministers of the gospel. Let's help our children in becoming successful in this in that line. Thank you very much. We meet next time, and we wish you the best.